What the hell did I just read? What am I doing here? Oh, hi. Hi, I'm here. I think we just got an emergency broadcast. Oh, okay. Let me check. All right, thank you. Hello. Yes. Yeah. It's the actor. Yeah, that sounded really ominous. Yes. Okay. I'll get right to it. Okay. So what we just read was that exact transcript you heard in the intro of this video. So, the story is about a creepy little boy who shows up at people's houses and goes inside, and then bad things happen to them. That's the gist of it. Now, the story was written by a user named Anonymous User 113,777 on the website a while ago, and won first place in a monthly horror writing contest. So, yeah, let's talk about it. When it comes to effective horror stories, there is a certain level of detail that needs to be present to make the reader visualize the events of the story accurately. It's kind of like if you wanted to paint a picture of a house with a paintbrush, you wouldn't use a single color, right? You'd want to add more colors to show how things like the roof looks, the siding, the shutters, etc. However, with the way the beginning of this story was written, it almost felt like the narrator didn't want us to know anything. Like all these details added later on weren't actually necessary. For example, the opening paragraph was absolutely brilliant. As soon as I read the lines, "Please remain calm and listen carefully," I immediately assumed it was from a real emergency broadcast, which I thought was a very smart thing to start the story off with. Because as we'll learn later, the story is essentially about a character losing their mind. So, starting off the story with something like that makes perfect sense. I also liked the way it was written, because it showed the character getting more and more emotional as the story went on, which reminded me of how someone would sound if they were going crazy. And I guess in a way that's kind of what this entire video is about. Starting off, I was gonna react to this story in the first place, because I thought it was a fake account. I mean, come on, how obvious is it that the account is fake? Like, look at the profile picture. Why would a legit news anchor have a picture of themselves that literally looks like it was made in Ms. Paint? Come on, that was probably done on purpose, to make it seem less credible. And it worked. I honestly thought it was a fake account. But the more I read the story, the more I started to question myself. And when I got to the part where the narrator said, "I honestly thought it was a fake account," that was the moment I realized that I had become completely immersed in the story, and that was the true genius of it all. See, the author made the story so believable that I forgot it was fiction. Now, one thing I want to point out about this story is that at first, it seems like it's trying to be similar to the We Need to Talk creepypasta, but it's definitely not. Sure, they both start with an emergency broadcast, but that's kind of where the similarities end. Also, I am pretty sure that the We Need to Talk creepypasta has been overused to death. I mean, do you remember a year ago when it seemed like there was a new We Need to Talk video every other day? Yeah, well this story isn't like that. This story is good. So, overall, the story starts off with an emergency broadcast, warning the audience about a young boy who looks exactly like a missing child. Every 15 minutes, the boy will appear in multiple locations at once, and then it gives the reader instructions about what they should do if they see him. Basically, don't approach him or let him in your house. Well, the story gives these instructions. It sort of plays it safe, right? It tells the reader, oh, here's something scary. Now, here's what you should do. If it happens to you, now, you're safe. But then the story continues, and it adds more information about the boy. And it gets weirder and scarier, and those initial instructions clearly become useless. Because the story goes on to tell us, if you've already seen him, you can't remove him. You will be told you never had a brother. Your family will forget him. Now, the story leaves the reader with no hope. If you saw him, then you're doomed. So, yeah, that escalated quickly. As the story progressed, the emotions of the character became more apparent through the writing. I can tell the author put a lot of effort into making sure that the reader felt the same way as the character did, which I really appreciated. By the end of the story, I was as freaked out as the character was. I mean, I was convinced this was a real story. I was asking myself what I would do if I saw a kid outside my window. I was wondering if I should post on social media to see if anyone else had experienced something like this. And then the last sentence hit me. And each time you blink, he will be closer. That line was awesome. So, yeah, this is another story that proves you need to describe every little tiny detail in a horror story. Adding a few key pieces of information here and there will make your story that much better. Because it makes your readers feel like they're in control of the story, and that's how you keep them hooked. Anyways, this was just my opinion on this story. If you want to read the story yourself, I'll leave a link to it in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more content. Also, you can check out my podcast where I publish long-form creepypastes. Thanks for watching.